The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation.
The Pirates Grant is brought to you by Alive, Bone for Bones, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, Foreign Currency, Scotiabank, and Wendy's.
Foundation. Foundation. The Foundation. The Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation. On this glorious Monday afternoon. Is it glorious? I mean, we had such a weekend. I think we're going to talk about that on the second half of the hour, to talk about where we are in this country and as we continue to be able to move forward. If you are part of my social media, you see exactly what we have going on today. I am excited to kind of bring this kind of a conversation with you. We wanted to be able to get as much time in as possible. Shouts out to all those persons that continue to be able to support us here at the Foundation. But more importantly, I want to be able to talk more specifically about what's happening. Guys, make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. Monroe Hopeful Crime Spurt soon behind us. But you know something? I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this on the second part. We're going to be able to take a time out to chop into these things. Now, if you're part of my social media, you know what we've been doing. I told you from last week we had an opportunity to be able to purchase a book. It's a nice book. We was able to get through it very quickly. Had 4 segments to identify exactly where he was on those particular sectors. He talked about sort of the transformation process, growing up, the seasons of transition, and definitely about the private and medical investment. And in those particular things, I told you I picked this book up when I was at church over at the Bahama Harvest Church. And I thought it was necessary to be able to have this kind of a conversation. I am grateful that he decided to be able to come with me. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to none other than former Prime Minister of the Bahamas, the Right Honorable Hubert A. Minnis. Dr. Minnis, my brother, it is so wonderful to have you today. I am grateful that you're here with us today.
Thank you very much, Howard. I am delighted to be here with you. When I saw you at Bahamas Harvest, you had asked me that I would grace you by appearing on your show, and I said I would. I kept my promise.
I appreciate that.
I'm here today.
I appreciate that, Doc. I want to thank you, man, so very kindly for being able to do this. There's so much things into going into writing a book. I wanted to dive right into it. A lot of persons are, they want to know about the book. I believe that because we have such a charged political environment, and, I don't want persons to drift to see if we talk about anything else. Today, we're talking about the power of determination, persisting in the midst of adversity. Talk to me about the book.
What I thought was essential to write the book, I have a liking, especially for young people, and I know they would encounter a lot of challenges and obstacles, and many may give up during their journey. Some would persist and subsequently succeed. I would have had similar challenges, and I came from Baintown, Hospital Lane, and subsequently rose through the different areas, working, going off to school, high school, college, etc., and eventually obtaining the highest position in the land, becoming Prime Minister of this country. And what the book clearly demonstrates that it don't matter where you came from or your beginning, but what is most important is how you end and how you deal with the challenges. My first challenges would have started very, very early in my life. I was just a few months old when I had developed pneumonia, rip-roaring pneumonia. I was told by my mom that she waited almost the entire day at Princess Margaret Hospital, was not seen from then, and subsequently left and took me home. Two of our friends had passed by and recognized, they were nurses, and recognized that I was seriously ill, and insisted that she took me back to the institution. She was reluctant, said she couldn't go through that again because she had to work and whatever else. So she took me to a private doctor, though we could not afford it at that time, but health and life was more important. We went to a private doctor who diagnosed the pneumonia and immediately admitted me into the hospital and commenced treatment. The doctor's response was that had I stayed home any longer, then I most certainly would have died, would not have been there. That was my first challenge. And then having gotten over that, there was the concern as to whether or not I would have been able to walk. Most people start walking early. By the first year of life, they're walking. I was well beyond that and still not walking. And there was a concern as to whether I would ever walk. And my mom explained that I probably was what you would call a lazy baby because I was spoiled by my godmother at that time, Becca Roll. And she used to lift me up everywhere she went, and every time she came there, I would just be waiting for her to lift me up. So as a result of that, she said I was a lazy baby and just would not walk. Becca subsequently went into hospital ill. And I was told that the day that Becca went into hospital, that evening, I started walking because there was nobody to lift me around. I had to do it myself. Wow. So that was great. My mom was very happy at that moment, recognizing that her son, whom she thought would not be able to work. Yes, Becca made it. She just died last year, as a matter of fact. Then the third challenge was as I got older and started to speak, I had Thai tongue, so I couldn't speak properly. It's classified as, some people used to call it heavy tongue. So I could not speak. And words were sort of mixed up, pronounced bad, etc. And my brothers and sisters, along with neighbors and others, would always try to force me to talk so that they can all laugh and have a good joke, you know, this young man who can't talk and whatever else. So I became very recluse and sort of withdrawn. You did not want to talk to people, so I hardly spoke because I knew that once I spoke, I would be teased and whatever else, and I tried to avoid that. And eventually I got over that. So those were the three challenges. So you could imagine.
You had pneumonia. You almost didn't make it.
And
you were a late bloomer in terms of walking. You didn't know you were a lazy baby. You finally got there. And now you had heavy tongue. Mm-hmm. These are challenges, especially the Bahamian society. They say, talk.
That's right.
Talk.
Right.
And they laugh at you with these things. And you got over all of these. These are just the foundational stuff. You wouldn't even get into maturity in life yet.
No.
These are just foundational things that you were going through.
That's right.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about some of the challenges of overcoming the adversity that you actually talked about. Throughout your book, you actually discuss various challenges that you faced on your journey from obscurity to becoming the Dr. Minister that we know, right? Leading you to the FNM Prime Ministers that we talked about, right? Can you give us a little highlight of two pivotal moments of adversity and explain how you were able to overcome those particular things? Now, you gave us three. Give us two ones as you move towards maturity.
I'd give you two, which I thought was very important. I went to C.R. Walker, which was Western Junior at that time. After leaving Western Junior, I subsequently went to St. Augustine's College. In grade 10, which would have been Form 3, we'd have had financial challenges, etc., having to leave school on many occasions. And I never understood poverty because you were quite happy growing up. You had friends, and everything was fine. And then one day, normally you'd come across the PA system saying, with the following students, please report to the headmaster's office, and then you subsequently disappeared. And there was one day, as it was being announced across the PA system, just said, well, the following students, and before the announcement was even completed, a student then said, Minister so-and-so, you all might as well just get up and go. So it was then that you understood what financial constraints were.
Wow.
And I went home and very depressed, disturbed, and whatever, having understood now at that time with poverty. But that was only financial constraints, because though I may have been somewhat challenged with finances, I certainly was not challenged with love and care by my mom, my family, friends, etc. I was wealthy or rich in terms of love, support. So I went home and I told my mom, I think I should drop out of school and move.
How old were you at this time?
I would have only been about, that was grade 10, I would have been about 15.
And you was ready to drop out of school?
Yeah, I wanted to drop out.
You could
That
talk-
was not unusual. That
But
was
you
not
could
unusual.
talk now.
That was not unusual.
Your tongue ain't heavy at this point. You could talk, and you still made a determination based upon poverty.
Yeah.
How was your academics?
My academics, I was an average student. But why I wanted to drop out, Grand Bahama was booming. It was very easy to find 2-3 jobs in Grand Bahama. It was truly the magic city. My elder brother had already left New Providence and moved to Grand Bahama.
Was this mid-70s?
This would have been late 60s.
Late 60s.
Late 60s.
Early 70s, okay.
Early 70s. He would have left and gone to Grand Bahama and sent monies back to the family to help and whatever else. And things was very good, and I wanted to join him. My mother was determined that she did not want me to leave school, that she wanted me to complete high school. And as a matter of fact, she wanted me to be her first child to attend university and graduate from university.
Wow.
So I stayed and persevered, but I used to go to Grand Bahama, especially during the summer, and work there along with my brother. So that was the first challenge that I got over. And subsequently went off to university, had my challenges there, but I think one of the most important one that the public would want to know, I always wanted to be a marine biologist. I thought the future was in the oceans, the seas, and I wanted to be a part of the future. My mother wanted me to be a physician. Well, I was scared to even study to become a doctor because I was told and convinced by my high school teachers that in order to be a physician, you must be a student, the top, the number one in the class, an A student.
And you were average.
And I was not. That's right. I was not. And therefore, that was not on my radar because I always had that fear that I could not do it because of what your teachers had taught you. So during my third year at university as a junior, I applied for medical school just for the hell of it. And I was accepted. And because of that fear and reluctance.
This was for your mother. You say,
This was
"Mommy,
for
I
my
tried."
mother. That's right.
I
that's
tried,
Right,
Mama.
that's
Yeah.
right. And I accepted. But I turned it down and asked for a deferment. The school wrote me back and said they did not grant deferment and that I would have to reapply the following year. And they can assure me that every year it becomes more difficult. In spite of that, I persevered and I did not want to apply after I completed, and I was home basically not working or anything. And my mother, I was waiting to hear from marine biology school. My mother and my sister said that I should go off and study medicine. And I said, no, but I want to do marine biology. And my mother's exact words to me was that, listen, I would prefer you to go off to medical school if, and while you're there, apply for marine biology school. If once you are accepted into marine biology, you can drop out of medical school and go and pursue what you want to. Her reasoning was that she did not want me, and to use her exact language, she did not want me to remain in New Providence because once her term, got attached to girls' gown tail,
Oui.
I would not want to leave. I did not even know what she was talking about at that time. I would not want to leave. And she would prefer me to go off. So I subsequently applied under the pressure from my mom. I applied and I got accepted. And my sister convinced me that I should go and drop out once I hear from marine biology. So I subsequently went to medical school in Jamaica. And because of that fear of failure, And I did not want to disappoint my mom. Because of that great fear, I started studying from day one. The word we used in Jamaica at that time was I commenced beating the books. And then I realized that medical school was easy. It was nothing like our teachers had told us. It only meant that you had to read a lot.
Apply yourself,
discipline.
Wow.
And it's not difficult. So I subsequently remained. So I
Did you ever hear from marine biology school?
No, I never did.
You still wait?
I never did.
Look, I want to talk to you about this. I got to take this commercial break and talk. But when we start to talk about these challenges, right? I want to take this chance and do this. You talked about your pneumonia. You talked about late blooming. You talked about heavy tongue. You talked about recognizing and coming to the point where you recognize that you were poor and poverty. You talked about those particular things, and then this challenge between your convictions and position to be able to do and pursue education in one aspect, and this sort of pressure from your mother and your family to say, this is what we see in you. You have yet to be able to speak about the fact that you come from a single family home. You have yet to be able to talk about these things. I want to know whether or not this was a challenge from you. When we get back, I want to talk about these things. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with none other than Dr. Hubert Minnis, former Prime Minister of the Bahamas, being able to talk to us about the power of determination persisting in the midst of adversity. I'm very excited to do this. I know you guys want to call in. You might as well just text. We're not going to talk today. We're going to let Dr. Minnis talk about these things. I'm excited to be here, guys. The Foundation with Howard Grant, 96.9 FM radio. Take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The Foundation.
Bonneville Bones, established in 1970, is the leader in men's fashion in the Bahamas. We're conveniently located in the mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza, and fully stocked with everything you need for all occasions. Our Harbor Bay location is one door north of Alive, with the black and white signage of Bonneville Boutique. Both locations are open from 10 to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Bonneville Bones and Bonneville Boutique, still the leader in men's fashion. Located in the mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 323-5267.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, on this absolutely glorious Monday afternoon, live and in full effect. I know that there is some highs and lows, some peaks that we want to be able to talk about where we are in this kind of dispensation, and what's happening over the weekend. We heard a tremendous amount, but today I want to talk to you about this. We had this kind of set aside. We're having an hour conversation with none other than the former Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis, being able to talk to us about the power of determination, persisting in the midst of adversity. If you're just being able to tune in, you miss some stuff. He tell us he had Thai tongue, he heavy tongue. He didn't tell us that, right? He tell us that he had pneumonia, which is a challenging thing, man. You know, normally we don't hear, you'd hear older persons say things like, well, baby, I have 5 living children, right? Or I have 7 living children. And every time you hear an older person say that, you always think about smallpox, chickenpox, this, that, all these things, pneumonia, during this time when you didn't have medical attention. To know that you've made it through, Doc, to know that you made it through pneumonia, to know that you made it through the late blooming walking stage, you wasn't able to walk, to know that you made it through the heavy tongue, you're going through all those things. Now you find yourself at the cusp of being able to pursue medical education in Jamaica and beating the books, like, as you indicated, right? As you go through all these things, the one thing that I have not heard you say, the one thing that seems to be a challenge on the subconscious for a great deal of persons is the fact that they come from a single family home. Only my mother was there, only these there. In this day and time right now, we're watching society unravel. And a lot of persons are kind of pouncing on this concept that it's because it's a single family home. But you're saying to me that despite it all, everyone in your family, your sister, your mother said, listen, go to school and finish. Talk to me about it, Doc.
No, I did not view that as a challenge coming from a single family home. I had all the love and care within that home. What you in that environment, you find that your mother would go off to work, and the eldest sister always took on the responsibility of bringing up the younger ones, ensuring that they had meal prepared, etc., ensuring that they did their homework, assisting us all with our homework, in spite of her having her own homework to do. So you can imagine the workload of the elder sister. And she would also get some of her friends, if they're there, to assist her, because they want to ensure that she completes her work as quickly as possible,
so we can
so that they can go and play. So it was always like a community. So and what was very observant growing up to single parent home, all those that were pushed and had a mother that was very forceful and determined and push you and made sure that you did your work, made sure that you did not get into bad company, etc., you found that those individuals were the ones within the community that succeeded. The mothers, on the other hand, that were lackadaisical, allowed the kids to go and do whatever they wanted to and not basically overseeing them, or did not have a structure where the eldest sister or brother assisted. Those were the ones that basically fell by the wayside. And in our setting, 67% of the population, 67% of the births in our country is the single parent. So the single parent has a lot of responsibility. But the point that has to be made is that where the mother was forceful, where the mother was strong, where the mother basically filled in the role of both the mother and the father, and where the assistance came from the elder kids, meaning the elder brother, the elder sister. So you grew up as a family. So none of us knew any, we didn't know difference between single parent or family with both parents. We had a mother, we had brothers and sisters, we played, we had something to eat, we knew the neighbors, it was safe.
No problem.
No problem.
I want to know this from you, Doc. Talk to me about this. Your influence and legacy. You talk about your big sister. You talk about your mother, those influences. What about the external influences? I know that you wanted to be a marine biologist, but you kind of opted into and stepped into the role of becoming a doctor and being able to do those things. But who were your local or international influences that you looked at and sort of emulated and wanted to be like this person?
You see your teachers. Your teachers would have great influence. When I went to Our Ladies, the church would have had a great influence. I was an altar boy, and father and the more senior deacons would have influenced and taught us a lot. And then outside the church, we also, most of the kids at that time were either a Boy Scout or a Boy Cub. And therefore you belong to organizations. So those organizations, the leaders of those organizations would have had great influence on you. I was a Cub. I never made it to Scout, but just about everybody in the community was either a Cub or a Scout. And we had great influence by the leadership of those organizations. Then you also had Sunday school. So we attended Sunday school, and most of us in the community were also altar boys. We were altar boys within the church. So the church had great influence, the church as well as the organizations, Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, etc.
I wanted to know this. I mean, writing a memoir is a deeply personal thing. When you take the kind of time out to write these things and you etch a part of your soul, especially after you would have, you know, come to such a point in this country, becoming the prime minister, to take the time out to etch a part of your existence and how you got to this particular point. I want to talk about those things. Talk about the writing process that you went through, or you decided to be able to include or leave out some things in your book. Talk to me about that kind of a process that you went through.
Yeah. One should always decide to write their own history. You never allow the public or others to write your history. It would always be skewed or their view, their search, as opposed to you putting on the facts. Obviously, there are some things you would leave out in terms of very personal matters, family matters that would remain within family. You would not bring those forth. But why you want to select the information and put down, make it public. A lot of people believe that when they see you as a doctor or see you successful or whatever, that you've had a very easy life moving through. Especially, my father had a service station, so people look at that and say, oh, you know, he had silver spoon and whatever. It's essential for individuals out there to recognize that you can come from what you call the bottom as a single parent, from a single parent, and still make it. But the most important thing is you must remain positive. You must remain focused, you must remain disciplined, and you must obtain your education. What was amazing is in 1967, when the PLP won the government, I would always remember, and it's in the book, I would always remember all of us as kids, I was a little boy at that time, we sat around the radio listening to the returns. And the only thing we knew was the PLP versus the UBP.
Yeah.
And every time the return came in,
PLP.
and the PLP won, we ran through the area, up and down the streets in jubilation, and all we saying is, we win, we win, we win. And I mean, I could remember that I could remember sitting down at the table, all of us brothers and sisters, everybody in the community around the radio. And after the PLP won, I always remember Penland felt that the most important thing for us to beat poverty, to expand middle class, etc., or to succeed, the most important thing was education. That's what they pushed. That was their mantra. And that was why education, to me, is still the most important thing. It's the future of the country if you want to survive or you want to build a better country. And that was why the government would have taken it up to a certain stage in terms of free education to high school. But we had to take it to another stage. And that was why we made education free at university level, so that every Bahamian would have an opportunity. The man in Baintown, not because he don't have funding, not because he don't have job or a nice financial environment, means that he must be marginalized. Education should not only be for the elite or the rich. No, everyone, both here in New Providence and the Family Island, should have that opportunity. And that's why it was essential for our dreams to make education free at the University of Bahamas. And we did that. Mm-hmm. We also made education free at BTVI. Now, that's very important because for the first time, BTVI had full enrollment. So what has happened to those students in the past who did not have the funds to pay for BTVI? Many of them probably fell by the wayside and may have ended up doing things, unsavory things to our society. But so BTVI, for the first time, was 100% in terms of student involvement. Not only that, when you look at the certification increased by threefold. It meant that individuals not only entered the school, but they became certified and successful. Those individuals subsequently went on and obtained jobs and opportunities, etc. Had it not been free, then what would have happened to them? Mm-hmm. So it shows how important education was. And we also made it free for preschool, because we know the value of preschool education, the impact it has. Howard, what a lot of people don't realize, we were informed that 60% of students entering grade 1, 60% are not prepared.
In the first grade?
In the first grade.
And so that's heavy what you're saying, Doc, because as a physician, in your particular capacity as an OBGYN, you know that you have to take the babies through certain stages. Okay, so I got to carry my baby to the pediatrician, hit the pediatrician. Pediatrician actually indicates to me that my baby hitting certain marks. All right.
That's right.
Yeah, they're hitting certain marks and so forth and so on. They're good. They know how to be able to use their voices. They're recognizing, they're using their hands, so forth. You saying to me, at 5 years old, many of them late 4, early 5 years old, going into the first grade, they're not prepared.
60% are not prepared.
That's crazy.
Now, can you imagine with that man? That they go on to grade 3, unprepared. They go to grade 10, unprepared. They graduate unprepared. And that is why the graduation rates are so high. So recognizing that and recognizing the studies from the IDB who said that the greatest impact on poverty and socio-economic outcome is education, preschool especially. So it was essential for us to make preschool free and available for every student within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Wow. This is an amazing thing that you've taken. I want to touch some things with you, though. I want to be able to get into a few things with you and talking more about current events. Now, I know it may be taboo to talk about these things, but you've gone through your fair share of tribulation that's been levied upon you and your government. So I want to take this kind of time out. Given the increase in crime wave that we have in the country, accompanied by the ushering of the new year, how does your book address the Bahamians? I want to take that particular. How does it address the Bahamian citizens, the resilience, the determination in the face of crime and rampant illegal immigration and issues that looming poverty? Talk to me about what nuggets in your book that persons can take away, could absorb and walk away with a very clear understanding that despite trials and tribulation, despite what exists externally, how can we get back on the right track to the community? Because this one thing that you're talking about when you talk about the church, your teachers, organizations, it's all about community. How can we get back to community?
No, the most important thing is discipline and respect. Respect for each other. We could not walk in the community and not speak to an individual as I encounter them. If we met an adult, just in passing, and I do not say good morning, good day, how you doing, you realize they report that to my mom, and we were beaten. We were beaten because you have been disrespectful to an adult. The police, for example, the police represented authority in the community. And once you saw a police in his uniform, that was authority, and you spoke and respected authority. It was understood that you never, ever try to speak negative or try to fight or accost a policeman, especially if he's in uniform. Those were the days, those were great days. You represent authority. So discipline was most important, and education. And you find that if you respect each other, if you respect authority, you respect the police because they have a role to play. And they're working under great adverse conditions. We must respect them. You can imagine the police is leaving his or her home at night to try and keep all of us safe. They're protecting us while sacrificing their own home. Then their homes are not safe. An invader can attack their homes knowing that the police is out trying to capture them. So now this is payback time. People don't think of that. So they are sacrificing their own life basically to keep us and the country safe.
Life and limb.
That's right.
Life and limb. Dr. Minnis, I want to take the time out to talk about these things. I really wish we had 6 hours to do it. We don't, right? But I want to talk about this. We got to get into this. Reflect on your recent political developments, here in the country. How do you believe that the principles of determination in your book and leaderships that you discuss in your book can guide current and future leaders into navigating to the complexities of this 21st century political landscape in the Bahamas? How can the next aspiring prime minister identify nuggets in this book and say, you know something, if Dr. Minnis could do it, I could do it?
Yeah. It goes right back to education. Ensure that our people are prepared. Ensure that our people respect each other. Ensure that our people respect authority. You may not necessarily like an individual, but you must respect and like that position that they represent. Then, of course, those are the key nuggets. But at the same time, you must give them, ensure that they have the discipline and give them ideas of investment and create opportunities for them, because that in itself would help to expand the middle class, not only the educational component, but the investment component. And you would note that the government had created great opportunities in terms of the port, Arawak, in terms of investment. You have other investment opportunities around here. You got the cruise port also, investment. So there are great opportunities. Now, what did I do? And individuals must really take this as a nugget. My mother was not high school educated, but she was my greatest financial advisor for me. And as a child growing up and working, every penny I made, I gave my mother. She saved it, and she would invest it for me. She would tell me what to buy, what to do, etc. And she would make sure that if she wanted to buy something for me, I had to have an investment in it also. Some of my monies had to be in that, because then I become more responsible and protect what she had given me. My mother, when I returned home from medical school, my mother said to me, as you start working, what you need to do, land is wealth. You don't have any. Say, you must make a commitment to purchase at least 1 or 2 pieces of property every year for 20 years. Say, that's a commitment you must make. So you may not see the value of it now, but later on, believe me, you will. I did that, Howard. Every year for 20 years, I made that investment. And you can imagine what it's worth today.
My God, dog.
Now, that was in New Providence. So I'm saying to the individuals out there, you must save a portion of your money. Your first 20 years post-university, 20 years of employment, especially as a physician, is your most productive. After 20 years, you start to go downhill. It's the exact opposite for lawyers, and you have to look at the profession and see when is the most productive time. You can imagine, you came back home as a doctor, and you spend that first 20 years partying and doing everything other than investing, you have wasted it. Because on the 21st or 18th, you start to go downhill. The younger doctors coming in, they're going to take over.
Yeah, they got steady hands.
That's right.
Okay.
And you and your patients start to get older together.
Yeah.
And your patient volume start to decrease. So you must look at it, look at the data, look at it scientifically. Now, that is very difficult for the young individual today because New Providence is very expensive. But there are still opportunities out there.
Yeah.
There are opportunities for investment.
Yeah.
All right? There are opportunities for buying land in the Family Islands. Land in the Family Islands is still cheap. Make that commitment now as opposed to spending all of your time partying and having a good time, wasting your most productive years, and then later on, you wonder what happened.
Oh, I was a stupid man when I was young. My God. Doc, I appreciate this conversation. I got to take this quick commercial break. When we get back, I want to find out how we can get this book. All those persons out there who want to be able to get this book, I see it on Amazon, so you guys can pick it up on Amazon. But let me take this quick commercial break and be able to get back and have this great conversation with none other than Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis, right here in studio with us, talking to us about the power of determination, persisting in the midst of adversity. We're going to take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
Foreign Currency brings you the African Giant, live in concert, Burna Boy. Burna Boy performing live. Saturday, February 17, taking place at Clifford Park with Burna Boy performing live. Also performing Rich Homie Quan, 38 Afri, Joe Capone, Bank Civelli, Rati Pinder, Bloody, Fat Shot, Puzzle, Judah the Lion, and Jay Shepard. Hosted by Natural Empress, Rika C, Pencil, and Aaron Ray. Music by the country's top DJs, Overdose, DJ Tank, DJ Hennessy, DJ Mad Bull, AJ Unruly, DJ Melody, Spinning the Gate 2024. Saturday, February 17th at Clifford Park with Burna Boy. Get tickets now. The name of the game is to be on the scene.
Bonneville Bones, established in 1970, is the leader in men's fashion in the Bahamas. We're conveniently located in the mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza, and fully stocked with everything you need for all occasions. Our Harbor Bay location is one door north of Alive, with the black and white signage of Bonneville Boutique. Both locations are open from 10 to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Bonneville Bones and Bonneville Boutique, still the leader in men's fashion. Located in the mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 323-5267.
Foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant and your company, the foundation. Right here, before we go off to a break to get to news, we have none other than Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis in the studio with us today, talking to us about The Power of Determination. I have my copy. It is an interesting read. And I can say one thing. This ain't volume 1A.
Yes, that's what I want.
That's volume 1. I know. I say that to say, guys, this is very interesting. You can be able to ingest this information really quickly. If you're a quick reader, just a few hours, you can be able to take all this information in. It has 4 segments and sectors that he's really talking about. Like I said, he talks about process, he talks about growing up, he talks about the seasons of transition, and he definitely talks about the private and medical investments into those particular things. Today, you were able to get just a sort of a snapshot into those things, maybe a few things that we did not know about the Prime Minister. We know that he's delivered 5,000 babies. You keep telling us, I've delivered 5,000 babies, we know that. But today, we learned a little bit more about him, and if you're interested in picking up his book, Doc, tell us exactly where we can get the books.
Well, first of all, I'm going to do 3 books. This is the first of the 3 books.
Okay.
Second book would be Medical, Career, and Investment. And the third book would be my political joining. I think that one would be probably the easiest one to write because fortunately I've kept a diary and therefore everything is documented as we go along. The book can be obtained at Logos bookstore just out Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza. and it can also be obtained on Amazon. And it's easy reading, and it talks about difficulties one may encounter, not only me, but others, and how to deal with it. And the most important thing, you must remember that difficulties and obstacles are placed in front of you for a reason, and those reasons are to make you stronger and better. You either overcome them, and you should remain positive to overcome them. Once you've overcome them, then you move to another level and become a greater leader, a more mature leader, etc. So don't look at obstacles as something to hold you back. And I always tell the young people that as you run into things, challenges, there are several words that should remain within your mind, going through your mind continuously. And you don't have to vocalize
Give me two of those words, though.
Those words are, I will and I can. So I can complete or do this, and I will do this. And you keep those words there.
You talk specifically about paradigm shifts in your book. I really want to know about the paradigm shift for those persons in our community. Our community has taken a significant turn. This last question I ask you, and I got 2 seconds. Our community has taken a turn, whether it be from the shifting for what we've seen for COVID-19, from the pandemic, what we've seen for Dorian, what we've seen for the significant crime wave, what we've seen about illegal immigration, so forth and so on, so the amplification that we have in the country. Talk to me about a paradigm shift that you believe is necessary here in the country for us to get to the next space.
Well, let's just look at crime, for example. Let's just touch crime. The question that has to be asked, we're told repeatedly that it's a gang warfare. Are we data-driven, bringing in a consultant so that individuals can penetrate the crime, the gangs, so that we can determine what are exactly the causes, why the individuals join gangs. Once we know that, then it's all data-driven. We know how to deal with it. I'm certain what you'll find is that a lot of these people are undergoing depression, anxiety, etc., broken home. They've had challenges in the home. Not only that, what happened is we know that 20%, according to the world studies, 20% of young children has psychological disorders. And that is carried into adulthood. So all of this we have to look at. So if we did the proper investigation and determine what were the causes, then we were able to deal with the gangs appropriately. This is just some idea that I'm putting forth that we can do. So it's more intelligence-driven. Intelligence, you go in, you get the intelligence, you find out what are the cause, why they join it, and you subsequently can deal with it.
Doc, I want to thank you so very kindly, ladies and gentlemen. That's none other than Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis being able to sit with us. He gave us a mouthful. I got to talk to you more about this, Dr. Minnis, about where we are in this country today. I wanted to really streamline it and focus on your book. Ladies and gentlemen, you can pick up the book at Logos Bookstore. The book is very affordable. I don't know if it's the same price in the bookstore. It's $25. We was able to pick it up. $25. We sold a tremendous amount over at church. We had a great showing over at the Bahama Harvest Church, and being able to do those things. Pick up your book right now, Logos, or on Amazon. It's called The Power of Determination. Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis in the studio with us. Dr. Minnis, I want to thank you so very kindly, my brother, for being able to sit with us. You got to come back again now.
Thank you very much.
You got to come back again.
I most certainly will come back.
Because I got questions for you.
At that time, we can talk about national issues.
Praise God. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Foundation with Howard Grant. Take this quick commercial break, get to news, and be right back after this.
Foundation.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation. On this glorious Monday afternoon, we're going to talk about these crime sprees that's happening in the country. I understand that 3 persons, pick up the papers, you can see exactly what's what. 6 shot, 2 dead. And I just got information this morning. Am I correct? Am I correct for even being able to talk about it? Someone actually passed away this morning, was murdered this morning. And then we got information about someone, leaping head first off the bridge. This is too much, man. We got to talk about these things. I want to shout out to all those persons that continue to be able to tune into the show. Thank you so very kindly for it. Dr. Menace is gone. Ladies, he's not here with us anymore. So if you want to be able to give us a call, please do so. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere for the family of Islands, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. Before we do that, got to shout out to my good, decent people over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got everything laid out for you right there on number 407 Blue Hill Road South. They got everything right there just east of the Golden Gate Shopping Center. You can get all your stuff to insure your car, even at the beginning of the month. All those persons who are out there, make sure you go down there and check them out. Their number is 3411-AFS, 3411-AFS. Get yourself taken care of in those areas, and we can see exactly what's what. Guys, we got to talk about this, man. Monroe is hopeful. This is how we've been talking about this. Now, I couldn't do this when Dr. Menace was here. I wouldn't dare, all right? This is the second time that we see this administration hopeful for one thing or the other. They hope to sell the Grand Lucayan. They hope that we could be able to deal with these crime spurt, right? We're hopeful that the crime spurt will soon be behind us. Come on, man. Let's talk about these things. I keep telling you about this concept and idea of hope. If we use that the concept of faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That is the embodiment of the intangible. And the only place that can reside is within your spirit. It can't reside in the physical realm. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It sounds oxymoronic. It sounds like a conundrum, but that's what faith is. The embodiment of the intangible. And when we in the physical, who are sent here to be able to execute with the talents and all the gifts that we were given to be able to fulfill the things that we've been called to fulfill, that purpose that we've been called to fulfill, and we lean yet again on hope. The question is, why are you here? My God, I just want to be as decent as possible. Why are you here? Because we could hope without you in an administrative position. Can I say this? Is it okay for me to talk like this? We can hope when there is void administration, when there is void leadership, when there is void of vision. We can hope collectively. But if we've identified an individual, a grouping, a people to lead us towards transition, to growth, development, and getting us out of the muck and mire of tribulation that we've gone through, there's no need for us to hope anymore. There's only one thing that we do at this point. Get rid of you. Can we say this? Is it okay? Can we do this? Is it too much for a Monday morning? There's no need for us to lay heavy and wax eloquent about hope. Because even the Word of God says to us that faith, which is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, faith without works application, the tangibility, the efforts towards transformation, to the objective your goal's been called to. Faith without works is dead. My God, hope without application, without strategy, vision is dead. Are we having a conversation about corpse, ladies and gentlemen? Are we here in this posture, looking at a desolate land, asking, can these dry bones live again? Are we in the relentless, perpetual posture of hope? Or are we determined to pull together our resources and work towards the objective of change for our community? The lines are open, guys. Let me take this telephone call. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. You on? Is he on? He's not on? Caller? I'm not going to fight you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere from the family of islands, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, what's up, brother?
I'm good, man. What's up, do it?
Oh, I see you pull a rabbit out of the hat. You pull a major move.
How's that? How's that?
I may bring in Mr. Minnis, but, someone asked me, was saying, man, call your talk show, right? Listen, I like to be fair, Howard.
Yes.
And people in the PL, some, only a few people have a problem with me being fair. And my answer was to them is that, I can't say what the host must do, but we must remember when Mr. Mitchell goes on talk shows, he don't talk either. So Howard, we got to be balanced in this country. And people, stop be getting mad over certain things, especially some of y'all PLPs. Suck it up.
They don't hear that.
Suck it up, man.
No, they don't hear
Why some of y'all so petty? Come on, man. If the man don't answer no questions, he don't answer no questions.
No. Let's be decent now. Today wasn't an open forum to have a conversation about everything.
And he said that when he left, he said that when he comes here again, he talk about this.
He can come again. He got to come again.
Howard, all I can tell you, we living in a country with some weird people, bro.
Praise
some
God.
Weird people, Howard. Some people who supposed to be a part of you, because you ain't down with certain things, Howard, they get mad with you, Howard. And if you ever dissect the reason why they mad with you, you're right. You was right and they wrong. But because you don't want to go along with their status quote and say or do what they want you to do, and you speak out and you stand up for right, it's a problem. And that's what our country is facing right now. Reality.
Wow.
Reality, brother.
Wow.
All I can say, Howard, on your talk show, some of y'all PLPs is only a fraction of y'all. Just a little handful. Some of y'all need to grow up, man.
My God.
Grow up, man. Grow up in this country, man.
I appreciate
all
you.
about politics, man. People are dying in the road every day, people.
Wow.
People are dying. And all some of y'all worrying about is politics. Politics. Wow.
My God. I appreciate you, Manduit.
Why is Rome burning?
Let's do what we got to do. Thank you, Manduit. I appreciate your telephone call, man. Thank you so much for that. It's difficult. And Dwight asked me whether or not I have a cold. I just a little. What happened is that I moved a couple of things around, so some dust got in my. Don't fight me. It's gonna be over real soon. But as we talk about these things, I think it's important that we do this. On Thursdays, when persons come here to have conversations about their product, I normally don't take a telephone call. Normally. On Thursdays. Last week, Thursday, we did a new segment to talk more specifically about customer service, right? And so I opened it up, and to my surprise, I got at least 1 minute and 30 seconds of pure cussing about how I do not answer the telephone calls. This is crazy. On Thursdays, we don't take it. Today, Dr. Minnis came on to talk more specifically about his book. And I think it's a good read. Right? And I think the astute politicians and those who are, who watching with bated breath, every move that happens within, the realm of politics in our country, I think we could see something bigger. Can you? I can. And one day out of 7, we're going to have an opportunity to be able to kind of break it down and talk about it. Today is not that day. So I wanted to be as decent as possible. Don't fight me. I was going to take your call anyhow. Not today. And some persons who come on, I like to engage them. I normally say to persons in advance, hey, this person is coming on, or that person's coming on, so forth and so on. If you want to be able to ask questions, send me your questions. Don't fight me. Let's just do this. Watch me. With the 2 hours I have, we start at the 15-minute mark, almost at the 15-minute mark. That's one. We have to take 2 commercial breaks within that space. The commercial breaks get, chew into it. It's about 5 minutes each. And that's happening twice. Okay? That means that almost an hour of the show is bitten into by some other things. If I have a guest of certain caliber that want to be able to get to certain things, I don't fight them. I just let them come on, have this kind of a conversation, shut up as much as I possibly can, and get to that. I think that that's sort of the discourse is what's happened today. I only had an hour with Dr. Minnis. And so I wanted to get as much out as possible and allow him to be able to talk. All right. So y'all don't fight me. And hopefully the next time he comes, we can have a full 2-hour discussion about his posture, maybe even part 1, part 2, about his commitment, his position as prime minister, the education that he says that he's emphasized, whether or not the education or the concept of education has evolved over the period of time, right? And then talk about more in depth and succinctly about his posture on what he believes should happen in the country. There's a tremendous amount of questions I have for him. But today was not that day. Telephone caller on the line, go ahead.
Howard, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Right here, my brother. And good afternoon, former Prime Minister Minnis.
He left. It's only me here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let me first go on the record to say, there's no Prime Minister in the Commonwealth of Bahamas that has been perfect. I believe that one of the best steps this particular Prime Minister has done is begin to write his memoirs, his journey, so people like us can understand, where he came from and where we are going to. A lot of us have, within recent times, even during that administration, has bashed him for his handling of some of the issues. But my problem with our people is that a lot of them are very disrespectful, and they don't believe in telling the truth. I believe that Dr. Minnis has done some good for this country. May not be to the level that many of us expected him to do it, but he did do some good. But when we hear persons, tell untruths about his administration was a total abysmal failure, and he did nothing right, then I have a very serious problem with that. Okay, I don't get to the point of praising people, but just praising sake, and I don't get to the point of lying on anyone when it's not due. So that's not what I'm here for. I encourage all of us to understand that government is continuous. We have prime ministers that are not perfect. We have even future ones that may not be perfect, but we have to get to the point where we get to understand and appreciate the some things that they get right, some things they will not get right, and we just continue to grow our country towards prosperity. In closing, I'm looking forward to this current administration, and I'm just going to touch this for a second, to restore the middle class in this country. And if that can be done, I think the Bahamas can then begin to rebound financially to a good position where we begin to live comfortably in this country. Thank you for taking my call.
Jeff, that's a mouthful. I mean, you said what you said at the top of the thing. I like that. I'm not going to fight you for that. You went through it. You hit me with the good political posturing. I like that. I'm not going to fight you for it. I like it. But then you ended it off with something that's peculiar. You want this current administration to restore the middle class in this country. How? That is absolutely impossible with 2 years left. That's absolutely impossible with 2 years left. Jeff, that's a big task. Listen to me. The one thing that this prime minister talked about was education and the necessity for education. One of the questions that I had for him, I had maybe 10, 12 questions for him. I got to maybe about 7, 8, right? But one of the questions that I had for him is, despite the challenges that exist, a lot of persons talk about this paradigm shift and talk about opportunities associated with it. And I wanted to know about opportunities that are being created for young black Bahamians right now where we are, for them to be, after all this tribulation that he would have gone through as a prime minister. Now, if I'm being honest, we've seen him do what he did with the Over the Hill community, right? If we're being very honest, we've seen him do, a couple of people have talked about this. Yes, Howard, he opened up BTVI, but he has to speak truth as it relates to what was already on the table as it relates to University of the Bahamas or College of the Bahamas, right? Okay, we could get to those things. But beyond that, beyond the acquisition of education, there is now post-acquisition opportunities that doesn't exist in this country. Can I say this? Can I say this to you? Post-acquisition of education, you already get your papers, you already didn't spend your money, you didn't smile up, you draw all over your hat, you throw it in the air, you take pictures, you put on all your makeup, your lace front weave, so forth and so on. You've already acquired your education. And you still don't have an opportunity in this country. There are people that are sitting in positions right now across the board in private and public sectors in this country. Let's stick with the one thing. In the public sector, in this country, right now, in public sectors. In various divisions, whether it be the uniform branch, whatever it is, in public service in this country, that are qualified from an educational standpoint, that still don't have the access and opportunity to be able to rise through the ranks. There is still someone that sits over them, just before them, that has tenure, that has longevity, that has relationship, that has proximity, that has no technical understanding, that's not prepared for this generation, that's not prepared to do what they need to do in this particular space, but they still have this job. It's heavy. The one thing that we put Dr. and me included, put Dr. Minnis to work for was that concept that he had for the Ridge, right? Skyline Drive, the Skyline thing, right? He wanted to be able to identify $5,000 plots and afford those particular persons who are up and coming. That was peculiar. Now, I believe that that was his effort in terms of being able to restore the middle class. But even that had significant, it was a Swiss cheese of an idea. It had holes in it. It was leaking, especially with the corruption that exists in this country. Restoration of the middle class does not start with one administration. It starts with a paradigm shift in this country. It starts with a very clear understanding of who we are and the determination to be able to move to the next level. That's what restoration will do. Restoration of the middle class in this country doesn't start with just an administration being able to swipe a pen. It's not that easy. You have to eradicate corruption. You have to continue to be able to provide significant incentives for those persons who pursue education. You have to identify qualification. You have to, listen, this is not an easy thing, and this administration can't do it. They can't. They cannot. It is absolutely impossible for this PLP administration to do it. And if the FNM come in next go round, they can't do it either. The middle class was not eroded by one administration. It's successively over from 1992 to now. Can I say this? Is it okay for me to do this? Is it okay? From 1992 with the introduction of the Immovable Properties Act. Right? Boom. One. And it continues to be able to evolve with the Commercial Enterprise Bill. Evolve with every single bill at the forefront. It continues to evolve, even with the introduction of Bahama Hotel. Can I say this? It continues to evolve when you see Toby Smith versus Royal Caribbean. It continues to evolve. Because you recognize, without clearly stating these things, that it's only us against them. And people see subtle innuendos of segregation that continues to exist in our society. So you can't levy the expectation of one administration with less than 2 years left. Can I say less than 2 years? Because the truth of the matter is that campaign time in 9 months, in 9 months, by the end of this year, they have to start campaigning hard. They have less time than you think they do. For them to do this great task, it's going to take much more. So let's do these particular things. I want to be able to take this commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so very kindly for tuning in with us. The numbers here, if you want to be able to participate, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere for the family violence, 242-300, 5720, 242-300-5720. Or you could hit me up, 422-4796. Quick commercial break. Be right back after this.
Creativity is in my blood. From shoes to handbags, fashion lets me express myself and embody Bahamian culture. My name is Aidan Barrow, and I am the creative director of House of Assembly. Alive's Liberty Prime Plan allows me to focus on my passion and stay connected, whether at home or abroad. Once I've created something new, I can post to social media from anywhere and get instant feedback. Alive has a plan for everyone, and it's created with you in mind. Alive. Believe in best.
It's Whopper Wednesday every Wednesday at Burger King Nassau. Make your Wednesday sizzle and sink your teeth into a flame-grilled beef patty topped with tomatoes, fresh-cut lettuce, mayo, pickles, ketchup, and sliced onions, all on a toasted sesame seed bun with fries for only $5.95, including VAT. This Whopper Wednesday, grab a friend and head down to your favorite BK Nassau location for a flame-grilled Whopper made your way with crisp fries for only $5.95. Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Here in the studio, you can be able to give me a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere for the family violence, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. That's on the text, so you can be able to do that. Lines are wide open, guys. Telephone caller on the line, go ahead. Call on the line with live, go ahead. Next call. Call on the line with us live, go ahead. Hello? Go ahead, caller.
Howard.
Hi.
You could hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Let me do this. Save that row for later.
You had a row for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. Don't fight me then. Just save it for later. I get.
Listened to the former Prime Minister.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And it wasn't all bad, because guess what? I feel like if he was in this era, he would have made some shuffling. He would have made some changes. It's just my belief now. Could be wrong, but I think so. Okay? Because you are a governor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You stood at the helm of this country, and you stood down, you allow what happened, and you don't say, well, you know what? Let me see if somebody else could, some other person could do things a little differently, or let me put somebody else there to make the, but even if you want to just fool us for that section or that second to say, we could have anticipation of something changing or something, different or something like that,
Yeah.
But to just allow persons like Mr. Monroe, Rodney Munker, and Mr. Reedman, and, come on. They might say, oh, they're responsible, and what? Okay, if you're not responsible, you can't do nothing, then what you there for? That's my question. Okay? If the minister is saying, gang war, this is what we're going through, nothing could happen, just wear it out, then what you be getting paid for? If Mr. Munker is on TV talking about, don't blame me, I say hang them all, what we put you there for? A comedian?
My God.
Read on his program, You know, what's the statistic of that? What's happening in this choky, crackerjack country, man?
My God.
How would you following where I going from?
I see where you're going with it. I got something to say. I got something to say when you finish.
We need to just show the Bahamian people, the minister, prime minister, okay, that you mean business. There got to be something can be done. You can't tell me something can't be done.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you.
You have to know these people. The
I
police
agree
have
with
to
you.
know these people. They all have these police hostage, man.
100%.
They gotta not being allowed these police to do their job. Something just ain't right here, man.
100%. I agree with you.
They are.
100%.
Because if the police have the ammunition, the police know the statistics, the police have the intelligence, then why we not saying no changes? It's getting worse. You don't think it's gotten worse, Howard?
I do.
It's getting worse, huh?
I do.
And it's going to be worse. Anyhow, I had enough. That's it, Howard, yeah?
Praise God, just a decent woman. I appreciate your telephone call. I want to touch something for you. I had a call yesterday, and they started to talk to me about the prime minister, right? Our current prime minister. And sort of his posture as it relates to, it feels very casual, nonchalant, right? Well, based upon what our expectations of when we hear there's a fire, okay? If we hear there's a fire, there's no casual movement. No matter who, I don't care if the chief of police in here and say, everyone in proper order, one filing line and walk out these particular doors. No one cares about that. If someone screams fire, there is pandemonium, okay? And there is an expectation, even internally in your spirit. You don't want to get trampled, but you want to be able to move towards the exit as quick as possible, okay? For all intents and purposes, it does not seem, can I say this, with the space of decency that you allot me, it does not seem our prime minister, the current prime minister of the country, Philip Brave Davis, in his particular capacity as prime minister, the right honorable prime minister, it does not seem he's taken that sort of an emphasis in understanding that there is pandemonium in our cities. Now, you try to assess this. You look at the murders, you look at the killings, you look at the pronouncements from the police officers, the subconscious idea that this particular person was known to police, right? And you continue to kind of weave, in your mind, you embroider in your mind, you pull together this sort of a knitting in your head. Well, all these fellas, they connected. And regular people getting killed out here, these just murderers. And so in one way, you release the idea from being able to fight for your city. And in the other way, you're indifferent with the fact that this is really tampering with the way the city is moving. As a prime minister, you recognize these things. And the responsibility for the prime minister, in my humble opinion, very humble, I want to do this. And I often offer you constructive criticism. I say, I don't think you've done this right. This is what I would have done. I'm not the prime minister. Don't fight me. But I'm simply indicating to you, this is what it was. Our prime minister should be in camouflage clothes right now, today. Wrap up, long boots up to his knee, strap up to the top, have a little hat on, and on the streets every day for 6 weeks, solid. 6 weeks, just 6 weeks. Just take some time out. All the appointments that you get, you send the president out, right? You send all the information, all the appointments that you have internationally, all the places that you need to go. You say to them, hey, listen, I do apologize. I will not be able to make this meeting at this time. I know that this is extremely important. We want to extend you an opportunity to be able to stay here in the country. We'll provide all the things. You can come down for the meeting in the country if this is of that important to you. But I must stay in my country. We have issues. And then you accompany that with the U.S. Embassy warning. You accompany that with the statistics on crime. You accompany that with all these particular things and make them to understand your emphasis on what's happening in your country. Take 6 weeks, just 6 weeks. That's all we need from the prime minister. 6 solid weeks. Focus on alleviating crime. Focus. All the motorcades, everything should carry him to every one of the crime divisions. Should ride him up and down in them constituencies. The prime minister need to focus on this. There's an opportunity for this prime minister, if you want to get political, for him to get back in office if he takes something and owns it. The only thing that the prime minister is owning at this point is a conversation about climate change. Can I say that? Is it okay to talk like this? The prime minister can own this transformation of crime and forgetting about Wayne Monroe, push towards the mark of getting back in government. But if you don't do that, you are going to lose by the end of February. In fact, you've lost significant positions because people are indifferent about this. Let's talk like this. Lines are wide open. Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, good day, Howard.
Hey, what's happening?
Howard out.
I'm good.
You know, I'm listening to you, and the only thing that comes to my mind is, you know, when you take your kids to the candy store, and they see those sour Twizzlers or something that they didn't see in a while, and they pick it up and you try to make them, let's just say it's a 5-6-year-old child, and you try to make them put it down. You know, the stick that they carry on with.
Yeah.
They want that.
Yeah.
And you're trying to take it away.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let it go. They're going to put up a fight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like you're trying to say.
You think, hold on now, let me hear this analogy now. You think
those freaking flyer mileage.
You think that's what the prime minister say? This is something that he's always wanted subconsciously. This is you and I talking now. You think that this concept of traveling the world and being able to meet with all these people is sort of the cream of the crop of the position that he has as prime minister of the country. And so now he will reap all the benefits of flying, but not being able to do the work leading in this particular capacity.
But, you know, doesn't it show?
That's heavy what you say.
To me, that's what it shows, because at the end of the day, while your people are dying in unprecedented numbers, you look at the month of January, and we was already got a head start for February. And and you don't have the party meetings, you know, like you say, ask them to come in. No, they are Zoom the meeting. You here, you home, you on the ground. You can Zoom the meetings 3-4 hours a day. Whichever ones you like to do, rather than travel, you can Zoom a lot of these meetings. You know, must you be there in person? You choose to, you know. And you brought up the incident with the lady on the bridge.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes God put people in our way to help them in certain ways, to lead them in certain directions, and to stand by them. You know, that lady came in God had her cross my path 3 times that morning. The last time I saw her, you know where she was? At the foot of the bridge walking over. And I said nothing.
Wow.
That hurt me. I said, God, when I heard what happened, I said, Lord, you placed this woman 3 steps from first thing Sunday morning, midday Sunday, I saw her again, and she was in a zombie mode walking. I watched this woman walk past me 3 times. I was coming from the bridge, and when I looked, I said, Holy Moses, that's the same woman I saw on the street early this morning, and sitting down by...
do we know her? Don't call her names. Don't call her names.
No. The place on the top of the Hilly Street.
No, I'm asking you. Do we know her? Like, is she like a streetwalker? Does she do that? Okay,
she's not.
Okay, cool.
No, she's not. I met a family member first this morning who worked with me, as a matter of fact. Okay. And I felt so bad for them. And they said she has a situation where she is medicated.
My God.
So they're assuming that she didn't get her medication. Now, I'm not sure of the situation, but that is what the family member said to me. When I said where I saw her sitting on East Street, they said, but she was close to one of her family members. Had they known she was there, they would have gone out there and collected her. I said she spent most of the day there, because I went in the West for most of the day. By the time I come back, I went out to Porterskey, and on the way off Porterskey, I saw this lady walking over the bridge.
I sad to hear that.
And that hurt me, because I said, I sure God wanted me to say something to her. But I did nothing.
That's heavy, what you're saying.
Nothing. And that really bothers me, because even if I stopped and hailed, I might have gone. Even though she looked like, had I hailed, she probably wouldn't have seen or noticed me, because she seemed like her mind was like miles away.
Yeah.
I felt like I could have gotten a response from her had I said something to her or pick up the phone and call someone and say, this is what I saw. I don't know if they would have reacted, but I know I could have said, mind you, there's a lady doing this. I saw her all day.
She was on her way when you saw her at the foot of the bridge then.
Huh?
She was well on her way when you saw her at the foot of the bridge.
Yeah, but that was into the afternoon. I just saw this woman from after 8 first thing Sunday morning.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear
First
that.
thing Sunday morning, I saw this lady. So I had, when I first saw her, the only thing came to my mind, I said, Lord, this is a new one. I haven't seen this one because, we're kind of familiar with them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I've never seen this one. Not knowing that apparently she was on her way down.
Wow.
And I could have said it.
Well, that's a lesson to all of us. I think as a community, if we see something and we get that unction, that kind of prick in your spirit, you got to say something.
Yeah. And my spirit usually tell me, say, okay, say something. You know how it goes. Sometimes you pass through and say, go back, man, say something to her.
Say something to her.
But my spirit said nothing. My spirit said nothing, and I'm praying about it from I heard the news. I said, Lord, why did my spirit prick me?
Well,
my spirit never pricked me to say something to her. It just said, wow. That was it. It was all I got in my spirit was wow.
Wow.
I never got an instinct to say, let me say something to her.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man. Well, as a community, we have to remain committed to being able to do, and I really thank you for your telephone call. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Right? As a community, it's important that we don't detach ourselves. It's very important because, it might be a number of things. It might not necessarily be life and death. It could be domestic violence. It could be drug overdose. It could be whatever. It's very important for us to be able to be observant, to be vigilant, to be sober-minded, and to be present. I think that's very important. I want to thank you so much for your telephone call, for being able to do those things and participate in that manner. Next telephone call. Caller on the line with us. Go ahead.
Howard Grant.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm good, man.
You know that you're a very sick man for saying that, putting the Prime Minister in harm's way like that.
How?
That's where you have the generals, the generals he appointed.
Put him in harm's way like where?
Put him in camouflage and...
No, man, what you mean? What you mean?
How you describe?
What you mean?
You said the Prime Minister should put on some boots.
Yes.
Some camouflage.
Yes.
A hat.
Yes.
Get on the street.
Every day. For 6 weeks.
Yeah, you could
in a controlled environment.
How
he just do it now. You just saw him the other day in
how could you put your maximum leader in harm's way like that?
What? But why do you? Okay, so you only indicating what my point is. For the 200 and some thousand in this country.
What I'm really piggybacking off is, I heard you say, no one's going to do nothing. We have to come to a place where we understand that the current government isn't going to do nothing.
No, we were talking more specifically about the restoration of the middle class now.
But that means you're ruling everything out. Because
everything is ruled out. It's impossible.
So what's your idea?
To restore the middle class, you have to create environments that people could get equal pay. They have to get the pay that they are worth and valued based upon the education that they have. That doesn't exist in our society.
So can you fix that?
That can be fixed.
Throw your hat in the ring.
You wilding out right now. You're doing a lot.
Throw your hat in the ring. If you have the ideas, throw your hat in the ring. If you say successive governments aren't going to do it, current governments aren't doing it.
I think you missed my point. It was not about that.
If you have the ideas, Howard, throw your hat in the ring.
No one administration can do it. This is my point. No one administration can do it. It takes a social paradigm shift.
Howard, you didn't say one administration. You said the government, the current government, is not.
And I said...
No. Let me repeat you right. You said the current government cannot do it. And the FNM government,
if they come
cannot do it.
They're unable to do it.
So what I'm saying to you, if you have the ideas that you, Howard Grant, can do it, why don't you, Howard Grant, throw your hat in the ring?
I appreciate you. I appreciate the telephone call, man. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I understand what you're saying. I think you believe that I'm trying to say that I have the answers. I'm not saying that. The answers exist currently within the body of us as a people. It goes back to the paradigm shift. It goes back to a determination that we're going to identify those people who espouse these sort of ideals and ideas, whether that's a political organization, whether that's an individual who seeks to be able to move towards leadership as a member of parliament, who espouse the ideas of inclusion for growth and development, equal pay and opportunities for growth and development. That's the only way that you can restore the middle class in this country. Do you realize how many homes in Blair Estate has gone? That's Blair Estate. That's Yamacraw. Do you realize how many people moved out of their house since the pandemic? Do you realize that Grand Bahama is gone? Grand Bahama is gone. That there is currently a fight between the government of the Bahamas, right, and the Grand Bahama Port Authority that's spitting out into the newspapers every day about indifference that exists within the organization, about what they have not done, what they should do, so forth and so on. And all the time, Grand Bahama is limping. Do you realize that we've lost the third most lucrative part of our country from a GDP standpoint? If you look at Abaco, if you look at these things and recognize that, you would say what I said. It is absolutely impossible for a government, an administration who has 5 years, if this is your only focus, you may be able to get away with it. You got to push aside everything else that happens and stay steadfast on focusing on being able to restore the middle class. Restoration of the middle class is going to come with the people, and insisting that leadership focuses on that with proper legislation. Legislation includes that is inclusive, and with financial wealth distribution. That's the only way it's going to happen. You cannot say to a progressive young person that I want to give you a $15,000 service lot and expect to restore the middle class. What are you talking about? That's not going to happen. So I stick steadfast on what I'm saying. I'm not saying Howard Grant has the answers. I'm saying the answers exist within us. And only way we can get to that is to a paradigm shift. You got to let me take a commercial break. I think I got one more, right? No? I don't. Okay, good. No. I'm not going to take the commercial break. Give me telephone calls. Let me see if I can read a couple of these things, right? So I said, good day, Mr. Grant. Respect to it. And the most honest PLP who keeps it real on the shows. This is, good afternoon, Mr. Grant. I have to respectfully disagree with you. In 2012 to 2015, we had a burgeoning economy, $3 billion worth of FDI projects going on in the country. Much of it was on the Family Islands as well. It could happen again. The major infrastructures upgrades on New Providence can go a long way and is badly needed. The sale of Grand Lucayan, the airport, the Grand Bahamas, we can do wonders to increase the middle class. Listen, we're not saying it. Listen to the word that when Jeff called the show, he said restore. Restoration is not assisting. Restoration is restoration. Okay? Restoration is restoration. It comes from obscurity, an absolute oblivion of nothing, to notoriety, to a place of productivity and growth, to being placed back to where you're supposed to be. We're not talking about helping it along. We're not talking about being able to throw it and hit a pat on the back. We're talking about restoration, and I stick steadfast to what I'm saying. No one administration could restore the middle class in this country. You've had hits from COVID-19. You've had hits from Dorian. You've continued to take hits. You've had hits with people shifting and moving to other spaces. How can you restore that? Because the middle class requires a particular mindset and not a poverty mindset. Come on, let's be decent now. Let's be decent. Not a mindset of contentment and comfort, but a progressive mindset that says that there's more. Because middle class is a very clear understanding that we're moving towards a higher, upper middle class, to the upper echelon. And you can only do that with a progressive mindset. So don't tell me and don't patronize the conversation by being able to say, well, we can help in a couple of ways. If we do this, we do that. That's still not going to shift anything. That's still not going to do it. The word that Jeff used was restoration. And this is not restoration. Next telephone call. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead. Let's see, read a couple of these texts. So it says, Howard, what about cutting off our hands instead of hanging? Oh, okay, I shouldn't be laughing at these things, but it's peculiar how your mind works. It's strange, right? So it says, since we seem so reluctant to follow through to the current laws in the books, would this be less barbaric? Something has to be done to mitigate these murders, weapons in the streets. No hands, there's less likely to be shot. Didn't that happen in, was it Rwanda? I think it was Rwanda. Between the Hutu and the oh God, my memory evades me right now. However, can you imagine how many murders it would have to be? It would have been if all those persons were shot and still alive. We've lost 37 shot and 22 dead. Wow, this is a lot. So it says, I don't think this is what he always wanted. I think in his first speech at the UN, he got bitten by the bug, and he's now tired. He's now tied his leadership to making grandiose speeches on the world stage. No, I disagree with you. I have to disagree with you this. His first act as prime minister, there's two things that happened simultaneously. He went to COP26. That was one of the major things that he's done, and being able to speak about these things. And simultaneously, locally, there was a protest outside of water and sewage the day after the PLP won. Someone talk to me. If we can have a very clear conversation, let's be honest with this. This is an objective. This is a lucrative market. Climate change will never end. There is sustainability there. You could talk about climate change till Jesus come. It will only increase. And if you could find a way to be able to lend your voice to this and always identify yourself at the table, then you could make some money. Ask Al Gore. Somebody talk to me. Let's read a couple more texts. It says, it's people like the same last caller that they too like to take everything for granted, so you could be ashamed to come on the video after the fact that the lady is dead now. No. I don't think that's what the intent was. I don't think that's what the intent was. It says, Howard, you point on, man. I with you, the last caller, just trying to be difficult. All right. I'm not going to fight you. Say, Howard, you're dead wrong. Right? This is a person telling me again about the FDI projects and buying and so forth and so on. He said, Howard, you're dead wrong. This is what happened in Singapore. He said, it happened in Singapore. What happened in Singapore is a determination. When Dr. Minnis was here, I said to him, the one thing that every generation identifies and looks for, because I talked to him about this. I said, your book speaks to a lot of things. And in speaking to these particular things, the one thing I don't see is that there is a clear defined. That's why I asked him, who was your mentors? Who you looked up to? Who the persons that you aspired to be like? But he didn't have to look up to anyone. The community depended on him. The community depended on Sean McQueenie. The community depended on Frankie Wilson. The community depended on Hubert Ingram. There was a significant community that had a dependency that if you are participating, you have to participate at the highest level. This is what the community required. This is what the community required of you, to perform at the highest level. And the community made an agreement with you that when you come back, there was a space here for you. And every single one of them came back and there was a space here for them. Now, they have not reciprocated that to the next generation. None of them. Can I say this? Is it okay? They have not reciprocated the same concept and this contract that if you succeed, there's a place for you. And that's why the middle class wouldn't work. Can I say that? I just want to be decent as that. That is why the middle class will have difficulty with being able to blossom in this country. Because there was no contract made between those persons who found success, went off, and to the next generation. There is a disconnect that exists in this particular space. Now, you could fight me until the cows come home. You can continue to be able to fight. But if you spend $100,000 on your education and someone trying to offer you $32,000 a year, what you can do? If you spend $100,000 on your education at 27 years old and you're back in this country with your eyes white and beaming with eager opportunity and this sort of enthusiasm to be able to participate, and you meet every single roadblock designed to be able to ensure that yesteryear is taken care of and there is no accommodation for the next generation, then what you're going to do? You represent the next generation. You represent the middle class in this country. We're not talking about the middle class 75 years and older. We're talking about up-and-comers. And if these up-and-comers, if there's no space for them, how can you reestablish a particular subsector? I just want to be as decent as possible as we continue to be able to have these conversations. Tomorrow, we're going to dive deeper into these things and try to chop it down. And hopefully I can get rid of this kind of a cold. I want to thank you guys for being able to tune in with us. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company. That's the show today. I want to thank you so much for your participation, guys. If you want to be able to kind of hit me up and chime in and cuss me out, you can do that. 827-0111. 827-0111. I think for me, Jeff, you started a sort of a firestorm. I don't believe that there is restoration for the middle class, and I'm going to stay steadfast on that, unless there is a social paradigm shift that you have to create a space for you. Let's do that. Have a deeper conversation about it, guys. I'm going to see you tomorrow, God's Spirit, right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM and The Foundation with Howard Grant. Have a good day, guys.
The Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.